Quiet down now, as we begin your next lesson on the first level spell, Identify.
Identify these not?
Utter one more word, and no cleric alive will be able to fix what I do to you.
Yes, sir.
As I was saying, Identify is a first level spell belonging to the Divination School of Magic. To cast the spell, you require verbal, somatic, and material components. Material components of a pearl worth 100 gold at least, and an owl feather.
I know we've covered what somatic and material components are, but material components?
You serious? It's in the name. As your teacher, I cannot leave you uneducated. Some spells require particular objects for casting. Depending on the spell, it will either only require the use of the material components, or will consume them when casted.
Wait, so to cast spells, I need to have a bunch of random items prepared for the off chance I want to cast a spell that requires material components. That's incredibly unpractical.
This is why any sensible mage would carry either a components pouch or a spellcasting focus.
And they are?
A components pouch contains a wide range of material components used by spellcasters. It gives them an easy and efficient way to carry possible materials needed for spells. The downside is that it doesn't contain material components with a specific cost. So if you need an item that costs 100 gold to cast, your components pouch will be no help. Next is a spellcasting focus. With a spellcasting focus, a mage can channel and focus their magic through them, replacing the need for minor materials needed for spells. However, suppose an item of specific value is required, and you use your focus. In that case, you can instead pay the cost necessary using your gold.
So what you're telling me is that magic is pay to win?
My young apprentice, life itself is pay to win. But, back to your lesson. The spell Identify allows the caster to do two things. Firstly, by using the Identify spell while touching an object, it will enable you to learn if said object is magical. Additionally, you also learn the item's properties and how to use them, whether the item requires attunement and how many charges it has. You also learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what those spells are. Also, if a spell created the item, you know which spell created it.
And what was the second use for Identify?
The second way you could use Identify is, well, rather than telling you...
I can't move.
Well, my apprentice, it seems that currently you're under the effects of a hold person spell.
Yeah, because you cast it on me.
To demonstrate how else Identify can be used, my apprentice, practical experience is at times the best teacher. I'd be thankful. I could have cast much worse spells on you.
I don't doubt that. So I take it you can also use Identify to learn what spells are affecting a creature?
See, you did learn from that demonstration. If it wasn't obvious enough, Identify is a valuable spell for any spellcaster to have in their repertoire.
Yeah, you could use it to stop yourself from being scammed by merchants claiming to sell magic items. Plus, you can safely learn the effects of and how to use magical items without any risk to yourself. Plus, it can be great for information gathering by casting it on another creature.
Correct. However, you must keep in mind that to use Identify, you must be touching the object or creature you wish to cast, meaning that if a trap or curse is on something, and you touch it trying to cast Identify, you may accidentally end up making things worse for you. However, it is hard to deny the usefulness of this spell.
Anything else I should know about the spell?
Well, for one, using a higher leveled spell slot doesn't make the spell any more potent, meaning unless you have no other option, it is ill-advised to use anything beyond a first level slot for this spell. Also, Identify is part of a unique group of spells that can be cast as ritual.
Rituals?
Yes, some spells can be cast as rituals, meaning it is possible to cast these spells without expending a spell slot, assuming you're capable of meeting certain conditions.
Those being?
Firstly, To cast a spell as a ritual, you have to spend 10 minutes casting the spell. During this time, you must focus only on that spell and cannot speak until you complete the spell's casting. Additionally, ritual spells are cast with the minimum spell slot required and cannot be upcasted.
That seems impractical, needing to spend 10 minutes casting spells.
In some cases it can be, but in situations where you can take your time, the extra minutes required is well worth the trade-off of not losing a spell slot, as mages must always be wary of their spell slots after all.
That's true, plus this spell is very useful, so I'm adding it to the spellbook.
A good choice. Now, I believe that is all for the day. Class dismissed.